All right, it is that time of the week, Tuesday coaching call. All right, looks like we are live. So let me just make sure all the other stuff is working. All right, awesome. So let's see here. All right, I think. All right, cool. All right, looks like we got people jumping in. All right, cool. The number is climbing up pretty fast. So it looks like we are live. Let's see here. Let me just make sure that's on the coaching call conversation is up and running. Cool. All right. Du-du-du. All right. Du-du-du-du. Let's see here. All right. Let me look at some questions. Went over to my. All right, cool. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us on this week's live coaching call. Sorry about that. Just had to make one other adjustment. And looks like we're good. So, do me a favor, just in case, as usual, if you are on this call, you can see my screen and also hear me loud and more importantly, clearly. Let me know. Send through the chat, little chat box. Send through a double yes for me and let me know that everything looks good, everything sounds good, so we can go ahead and get this call going. This is more of a Q&A, okay? So I'm going to go through a few slides and go through a few slides, go over some kind of summarize what really this call, right? And then if you guys have some Q&A, we'll go over it. If not, then this call will probably be a little bit short today as well. So anyways, if I can get one or two persons, I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. Let me know that you can see and hear my screen fine. We can go ahead and get this call going. So, all right. And I can just actually, let me double check on my end. And if my voice is a little bit raspy or sounds out of sync a little bit, I might be coming down with a cold. I'm not sure. Felt fine yesterday. Then yesterday afternoon, started to feel a little bit under the weather. But we'll push through. All right. Again, this week's call is going to be about how to scale your lead flow. This is a common question. And some of this is really going to be more mindset than really, of course, we're going to go through some, how do you actually do that? Right. So we're going to cover some different ways to scale your lead flow, but also just more of a mindset. I think sometimes we look at numbers, we look at, let me just go ahead and just go into presentation mode. We begin to look at numbers only, right? Hey, I need more leads and need more leads. But yet, which one of the slides that we cover is we talk about, a lot of times we might be getting leads, and then we increase lead flow because that's all we're focused on. But yet we fail to look at and recognize things that there might be a leak in our bucket, right? So, and I'll explain what I mean here, what I mean by that here shortly. So again, this week's call is about how to scale your lead flow. So again, thank you everybody for being on this live call. And if you are on the recorded call, which this call will be posted once the live version is done, we also want to welcome you as well, because not everyone can hop on these calls for various reasons. But let's go ahead and get this call started. How to scale your lead flow. And before we do, of course, new content to check out. Again, those of you that are watching this live, please check this out. Check out the latest Carrot Casts. Do you struggle with true happiness? A simple hack to go straight to increase happiness. Carrot Cast by Trevor. Always pretty cool to see his insight and hear his insight as well. So how to tell if my real estate PPC campaign is working, setting up conversion tracking. So make sure, guys, if you guys are looking into paid advertising, I think so many times we jump into marketing without really tracking. So if you are doing PPC or really any type of lead paid marketing, you guys should always be tracking that. So in this blog post, we're talking about how to set up your conversion tracking for your PPC campaign, which is Google AdWords. Also, 12 things a good real estate agent should be doing to become great. So again, on the recent blog post. So make sure you guys are checking out this new content, Carrot Cast. If you're not subscribed, please make sure that you're subscribed to that. And make sure you subscribe to that. Leave us some feedback. Let us know how much that's impacting changing your mindset. Thing I love about that, it's just not about real estate. It's just not about marketing. It's also about life in general. So again, check that out as well, and make sure you're leaving us some feedback. All right. So actually have not had anyone tell me they can see and hear me. So I'm hoping I double check on my end, our live feed. So that one looks good. So again, favor guys, at least one person, let me know you see and hear my screen, and hear me loud and clear. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're good on that end, just in case. So weekly dose of awesomeness. This comes from Michael. You're the best. Oh, and I just wanted to say I appreciate what you guys are doing at Carrot. I got my I'm assuming that's supposed to say first. What we do, guys, we don't alter any of the feedback we get. We just kind of basically copy and paste what some people submit. So I'm assuming that says first. I got my first. I'll just read as is. I got my 4 wholesale deal from someone that filled out a form on my Carrot website, and I have another one in the works that will likely close. My first deal was $3K, and this next one should be $3 to $5K. Most of my Facebook learning has been from Carrot. Awesome. So that comes from Michael. So Michael, if you're on this call, super appreciate the feedback. Love it as well. So, all right, cool. Awesome, Todd. Awesome, guys. Looks like they're actually it looks like everybody was in here, so I was actually in the wrong channel. Shame on me. So awesome. Thanks, Todd. Can see and see. Grace, Jake, Tim, Forrest, John. Awesome, guys. You guys rock. So Steve. Yep. Cool. All right. Awesome. So all right, it's kind of panicking there for a while. Your coach for today, Adrian Nez. That's me on the far right. Might be your left there, but this is actually a picture from one of our most I'm not sure if this was our most recent Carrot retreat. We have another one coming up in January. January. What am I talking? July. The meds might be kicking in, guys. We have another retreat coming up next month, which I'm super excited about. Head up to Oregon, and but again, this is the entire team, but I'm there on the far right, at least from where I'm sitting. That's me there. So again, if you are, my name's Adrian Nez. If this is your first coaching call, my name's Adrian, and I am Carrot's customer success hero. One of the first customer success heroes. We've added many already, and as well, just make sure that if you guys are on Facebook, Instagram, I'm there. Reach out. Would love to connect. But I'm always excited to do these weekly calls. Still actively wholesaling, actively generating leads, 100% from online lead generation in multiple markets. So definitely have a lot of experience kind of seeing the ins and outs of effective lead generation. A lot of times you can kind of get into nuts and bolts of online lead generation, but there's only certain things experience brings that a lot of people don't see when they're first starting out. I know a lot of people out there like to push their services. They're, saying they're this, and this, but they're really missing the fine print. And that's one of the things that you guys can always count on here at Carrot, is that our experience overall really is invaluable, right? Again, there's a lot of people out there, trying to drive. Again, great people out there doing some awesome stuff, getting things started. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're getting your information from people who are doing it, also testing, tracking, really knows the ins and outs of effective lead generation. So again, welcome you guys on this call, and that's what you're getting. Hopefully you get out of these calls. Really, all I can do is give you guys the information, and you guys got to go and take action, right? I mean, sometimes we give you guys tough love. Sometimes we tell you maybe something that we feel like you need to hear, because again, we sincerely care for your success. And that's what these calls are for. So anyways, so again, this call is going to be about scaling. What do I need to scale my online leads more now that I'm getting some coming in? So this kind of really begins to be a common question. So usually what happens is people are not getting leads. Some people are getting leads, but it's not enough. And usually the problem is that they only have one lead source, right? So again, this call is going to be more about how to really put everything together. Maybe have you guys consider things you haven't. And then also to change your mentality. It's just not about getting more leads. Sometimes Like me personally, I'm happy with getting 4 or 5 leads a month. That might not seem like a lot, but I rather work 3, 4, 5, of course, more of quality leads, right? That's why so many people I see on Facebook always talk about, hey, I got this much leads or I'm ranking for this. But me personally, I want to know how many quality leads came in, how many you converted, and how many closed to a deal. Nobody wants to talk about that. Okay, so it's not just about ranking well. It's just not about getting so many leads. It's about bringing in quality leads, because if you can open the floodgates and bring in 50, 100 people into your website, but if they're not the right customer, you're just going to be wasting your resources. When I say resources, both your money and time, and working leads that are just not going to pan out. And that's just going to frustrate you. And, so again, it's about quality, not quantity. All right. So again, have that mentality when you hear the word scale. It's just not about increase, but also it's just really evaluating, things that you might be missing out as well. So we're gonna kind of dive into that. All right. Grace says you're probably partying too much. That's why you have no voice. That's funny. Awesome. I love a group of people you are or regulars is what I like to call. So, all right, guys. All right, so let's get this call started. Really, when it comes to scaling, increasing, it's gonna we're not gonna make it very unattainable, right? We're not gonna make it like impossible to do. So let's take a look at this. I mean, it really just boils down to these things. So we're just gonna do 5 really talk about these 5 things. It's really, really simple when you think about it. So again, when you guys say scale, a lot of people come to me and say, hey, should I do PPC? Should I do this and that? And a lot of times, yes, the answer is always yes, because you always want to open up more lead channels. But like, man, let's really dial in what you're currently doing first, right? I had a call this morning with a one-on-one coaching call, and he just really needed he didn't know where to start. And I told him, I said, man, first of all, you need to come up with a plan for your business, not your lead generation, but for your business, so we kind of I got him set up on a plan. And then the next thing was, okay, let's tackle the low hanging fruit. So I asked him, what are you doing right now for marketing for your business, not your website, but your business? And he said he was doing cold calling. All right. So we talked about how he can tie in his website with his current marketing, which is not online, but it's with cold calling, and showed him how to really incorporate the two. And that's the thing, guys, is that if you can blend everything together, it's amazing you'll be amazed how many people are closing deals because of the website and they did not get the lead through the website. Think about that. Closing deals because of the website, not because you got the lead through the website. So again, think about that. So let's go ahead and do this. So number 1, plug the leads in your buckets. Okay. So a lot of times we get so focused on wanting to do more leads, right? Hey, how do I get more leads? Should I increase my budget? Should I, should I pay someone to do my SEO? Should I do Facebook? Should I do more Craigslist? Really, that's great. But the first thing I always like to help people do is like plug the leaks in your bucket. So, are there some things on your website that is hurting your conversion? Now, I say that very carefully because not everything is a conversion issue. Anytime someone comes to me and says, hey, there's something wrong with the website or having conversion issue, I guarantee 9 out of 10 times it's not a conversion issue. It's a traffic issue. Okay. So I use that word very carefully. I don't want you guys thinking, oh, Adrian said there might be a problem with the website. It's not that, right? The websites will convert when you have the right people coming through. Okay. But what I mean by conversion is there's someone I've been helping in Miami, and he doesn't care about SEO. He doesn't care about PPC. In his market, those type of lead generation is tough, right? It's saturated. It's a seller's market. But he's doing a lot of your unconventional marketing, like door knocking, cold calling, and they're using the website for conversion. Okay. They're using their website to convert those leads. So how are they doing that? How's that possible, right? So the way they're doing that is they're using it for credibility. Okay, they're not just they're not thinking and just they're not just a one-trick pony with their website and just making it about just generating leads. They're also using the website more on the credibility search, okay, on the credibility side, and that leads into brand search. Okay, so what happens is he's this Ray. What they're doing is they're encouraging their customers or potential sellers to search their business name because he has things in position. So he's actually challenging people. Hey, do a search for my business name. Do a search for my personal name. You'll see, let's see what comes up, right? So he's not bragging about himself. He's not because because he listens to what we're telling him, and now he has videos in place that are not only optimized for his business name but also his personal name. So now when someone does a search, they're finding testimonial videos. They're finding videos that explain the process, right? You'll be amazed how people think a simple video is like a TV commercial. So they have that, so that builds instant credibility in their mind immediately, right? Like to me and you, it's just a regular video that you could have made on Animoto or hired someone on Fiverr, but people think that it's an actual commercial. So again, it's all about perception. So if you can bring your website to where it better brings that credibility, right? Well, a lot of people say, well, I haven't done the leads. That's all right. Build up your character credibility. Most of you should have some good credibility out there, whether it's with, something as simple as your pastor. Maybe if you're in sales, talk to past clients, whatever your industry was, reach out to people that know your character. Okay. So, again, this is just really simple things that you got to look at before you really try to scale is what are some things that you can fix without going down the rabbit's hole. Okay. Again, that's why I'm trying to be careful when I use the word conversion. A lot of times people say, well, I got 100 leads or 100 people coming to the website, but no one converted, or I'm doing PPC, so many converted. I'm doing Facebook, none of them converted. That might be that might be true. But a lot of times the problem is with your message. The problem usually is with your ad, right? You're too broad, in your communication, right? Or you're marketing on a platform that's not suitable, or where typically a true motivated seller would go for help, right? So some platforms naturally you're going to have a low conversion rate. Okay. So again, there's a lot of dynamics that might really be the cause of why you're having conversion issue. And usually, again, 9 out of 10, it's not the website. Usually it's your message. You're too broad. You're confusing people. People are thinking that you're a realtor based on what you're saying. There's really no credibility there or clarity as well. Okay. So, all right. So again, is there someone that would love to, all right, so let me just kind of go through. Let me do this. So the other thing is going to be, I'm going to say, nail the math. Guys have to know your math, right? I'm amazed how many times most of us do not know what our profit margin is, how much our cost per lead is doing, or what our cost per acquisition is, especially if you're doing paid marketing, right? Paid marketing is the easiest way to know your numbers, because that data is provided for you. That's why I love PPC. It tells you how many impressions, how many clicks, how many converted. Then from there you begin to work backwards. Now you begin to understand, okay, it takes this amount of leads that convert into a deal. Okay. And then you begin to see the costs, right? As you begin to do that, then you know what you should be spending on marketing. Right. And then really a lot of times it should also bring confidence. Okay. So I'm not gonna really have time to go into like the whole math of that, but we have a great tool that you guys can use. So just head over to oncarrot.com/ROI. oncarrot.com/ROI. All right. So this really, now this is not 100%. 100%. I don't want to say accurate, because every market is a little bit different, So again, this really gives you a good indicator, really give you, should really help you pinpoint what that, you know, what you can do. So this is how much can you afford to spend per deal? Okay, so this is a great way to at least begin to get an understanding. And another video that you can check out on this page is right here. Okay, Trevor really does a phenomenal job of breaking down the budget formula, right? So you might have to, warning guys, you might have to watch this 3 or 4, 5, 10 times before you really grasp it. You know, one of the things that I just really think is not a good excuse is when someone says, "I'm not a techie, I don't understand this." You know, to me, if you're in this as a business, you got to do what you got to do to figure it out. If you can't hire someone or don't have someone in house that can help you figure this out, man, you just got to just put your head down and watch as much information as possible, even if that means watching something 10, 15, 30 times before you really grasp it. Right? It's important. The math, you know, because one of the things we always say, guys, is you know, we're not in the real estate business, we're in the marketing business, you know, which is 100% true. Along with knowing math, got to know, along with knowing that you got to do marketing, the second thing behind that is understanding the math behind it, right? We should not be marketing by emotions or our own preference. We should be marketing and making decisions based on the math. Okay, so again, this is going to be one of those things. It's going to be well spent. So check out, go to ROI, excuse me, oncarrot.com/ROI, and then there's a link to this video which will take you here. And again, it's going to be worth, guys, worth watching this as many times as you can to really understand the math behind it. Okay, so make sure that you guys are watching this. All right. All right. So, hey, Forrest, hey, send through your website address. We can take a look at that information too. So, all right. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So again, number 2, we're not going to spend too much on it. You guys can spend that on your own time because that's just one of those things I can't teach in 5, 10, 15 minutes. One of those things you guys just kind of have to just really, again, Trevor did a phenomenal job breaking that down. So I'm just gonna give you that resource, right? Bookmark this thing and just watch it as many times as you need to. Mess around with this thing. Begin to look at your marketing, how much you're paying, and just start breaking that down. Okay, so the math is very important. All right, so expand your traffic sources. Okay, so and this is a big one. A lot of times because of our budget, we tend to kind of be limited in where we're marketing. But the reality of it, guys, is you got to expand as many traffic sources as possible. One of the things that really bothers me, and I'll say that, okay, first of all, I say this because I'm an online guy, right? SEO, PPC, I love it, okay? But I will never knock bandit signs. I will never knock direct mail. I will never knock door knocking, cold calling, just because I'm an online guy, right? To be successful and for your business and your leads to grow and be able to be scalable, you got to expand your traffic sources. Now, of course, and now I'm not saying you guys continue to throw money into what's not working. That's why it goes back to tracking. If you guys are tracking every marketing that you guys are doing, you begin to understand what's going to work best for you in your particular market. I know guys that we've helped that are like as good as you can get ranking wise on the SEO side, but their bandit signs continues to crush it for them. Okay. So I know a lot of guys out there say, well, SEO is the big thing, or you're going to have people say, hey, PPC is the best thing. Guys, to me, there's no one dominant strategy that's going to make you a millionaire. It's going to be really, first of all, understanding the math. I know I'm really being repetitive with that, but I know so many people that say, hey, SEO is better than PPC. You got people saying PPC is better than SEO. I mean, but at the end of the day, guys, you got to figure out what works best in your market, right? And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't have the funds, I don't have the budget. That's gonna be your downfall, right? This is a business, guys. You got to come up with money to be able to put into your marketing. You have to. You just can't get by trying to do things with no money. Now, I'm not saying that's not saying that's not possible. I'm not saying, you know, it's not good to be resourceful, right? But the reality of it, more people are coming to this business, and credibility is becoming a bigger factor with motivated sellers. So you got to really be up to par when it comes to that. And it's just so hard to do that with no money. Okay. So I mean, if that means you guys just not eating, so if you guys do a budget, run in your personal finances, and let's say you're spending $800 on eating out, man, don't eat out for the next 3 months. That's what, $2,400 for the next 3 months that you can free up for marketing, that you can invest into your business. Right. I just personally believe that the person that's willing to spend the most to acquire a lead, they're going to be the winners at the end of the day. I just believe that. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that you just throw money foolishly at marketing. I'm not saying that. That's why it goes back down to marketing, no understanding your metrics, what's performing the best, how much you're spending, all of that. Okay. But again, at the same time, a lot of people also begin to scale back because they say, well, it's costing me $3,000 to do a deal in my market. That's just too expensive. But what if your profit margin is 10 grand or 15, right? Anybody with enough business sense would spend 3 grand to make 10,000 or to make 10K or 15K, right? So there has to be that mindset shift too, guys, with that. Okay. So, again, me personally, I love PPC. I love SEO. I love retargeting, right? Because those are great ways to not just have increased visibility when it comes on the branding side, but also got to open up as much as you can. Even myself this year, I'm expanding into cold calling and some other offline stuff, right? If I really want my business to grow, I just can't be 100% dependent on online lead generation, because in a hot sellers market, guys, online lead generation, it does have impact on your online lead generation, right? Because no longer are they hungry enough to go search out for help, because the local market is educating them, especially from agents. They're being educated. Hey, you're in a hot market. Listings are going fast. If you ever wanted to sell now, get top dollar right now. So now that's why cold calling is really, really sexy right now. Simply because you're chasing them down. You're not waiting for them to go to the internet. You're not waiting for them to Google you. You're not waiting for them to see your PPC ads. Again, that's still part of the equation. There's still deals to be done with that, but you just can't 100% depend. That's why I'm not a big fan of people saying, well, SEO is the best or SEO is this. Trust me, guys, there's so many people out there that are claiming numbers that are not true. Okay. There's so many people that are just talking about the surface stuff, but not the true numbers. Okay. So be careful what you listen to. But that's why you got to expand your traffic sources. All right. Expand your markets. Right. That's what I'm doing. Even though that's kind of what's helped me stay afloat for a lot of years in wholesaling, because I didn't do direct mail or anything offline, is I went into other markets, because every market's going to have its cap. Okay. Just because you have a website, just because you're spending a lot of money on PPC, or let's say your website's ranking well, doesn't equate to infinite leads. Right. Every market has its cap. That includes SEO and PPC. Right. So that's why it's if you can expand into direct mail or cold calling or door knocking, one of the ways to scale up your leads is go into different markets. Right. A lot of times we want to go into markets that's just too hot right now. Right. Inventory is low, and it's just tough. It's tough. That's the reality of it. All right. So there's some good stuff out there. I like Sean Terry. If you guys want to reach out to me, there's some really good stuff that Sean Terry teaches. I'm not pushing Sean Terry or anybody else. But if you really want to, there's a teaching that he did about how to go after, basically research markets and different markets. It's really, 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 really good. So, all right, stop throwing away good leads away. So one of the things I'm seeing too, in some of the markets I'm in, is we're getting a lot of retail leads, right? A lot of retail leads. All right. So what's happening is, that's frustrating, because obviously those are not going to work for us. Okay. Those are not going to work for us. So, but one thing I would encourage you to do, some of this might be dependent on the state that you're in. So you might have to look into that, or really investigate and be creative. But create an alliance with some realtors, right? Start referring a lot of these leads over to other agents. Okay. I pretty sure, at least I've experienced this, is that agents are more than willing to get referrals. Okay. And good agents will always find a way for you to get paid, obviously within the rules. So if you guys are getting a lot of leads that are just not good, too much retail, align yourself with a good realtor that you can refer those out to. And, and then find ways that you can get, you can monetize on that. Another thing is obviously, think outside the box, subject to, again, back to the numbers, make sure that works though. Just don't do it just because, but, subject to or lease options, right? Find creative ways to type that deal. This call is not about how to do that, but again, don't just think that if it doesn't work for you, it's a bad lead. Make sure that you're monetizing it. And the best way to do that, especially those of you that are in the hot market right now, we do that because I'm spending a lot of money in PPC, and we're getting a lot of people say, hey, I'm just wondering what you can get me for my house. We'll do a quick comp, realize they're in a good market, they're in a good neighborhood, house is in great condition. And we say, hey, you know what? I don't know, but I know someone that can help you determine that. And if you're looking at if you're looking to get top dollar for it, because I'm saying that out of confidence to them, because I know we can't help them. It's just it just doesn't work. So now I'm prepping them to engage with the realtor. Hey, if you're looking to sell now, yep, it is a hot seller's market. It sounds like your house is really in great condition. I'm going to connect you with the realtor that can get you top dollar. Let's make the introduction. Okay, so again, plug the leaks in your bucket. Nail the math, expand your traffic sources, expand your markets if you have to, and then of course stop throwing away good leads. Okay, align yourself. If you're not an agent or don't know of an agent, align yourself with one that you can monetize these leads from. So okay. So again, just really, really simple stuff. And I really think these are the things you really look at before you really begin to say, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to put more money into PPC. I'm going to hire someone to do SEO. I'm going to ramp up the Facebook marketing. Again, all those things you should do, but make sure these are also in place. Okay. Make sure these are the things you do first, because it's very, very important. And then also, as you guys are doing that, make sure that you're following, so if you increase, here's a good example. It kind of fits into nailed them here's one thing I'll say too that I didn't mention is plug the leaks in your bucket is also, I will say that pay attention to gaps. Okay, so I'm going to say plug the leaks and then fill the gaps. A good example of what I mean by that is we really start ramping up PPC, and for a long time I was in tune with SEO, and I would say 9 out of 10 times all of our SEO leads, the persons or the people always fill out the form. Okay, so we really didn't need to scale our phone system or phone. We always did okay with them going to a voicemail, and it always worked out. Okay, so the more that we start spending money on PPC, the more that we start spending more on CPC, our call volume began to go up. I mean, we went from a few calls a month to triple, around 20 to 30, which might not be much to you guys, but for us, that was a huge jump, because we just found that with PPC, we got people that are texting us because we enabled that feature for people to be able to text us if they're on their mobile phone with PPC. There's the click to call feature that I love with PPC. So as we begin to scale up with the PPC, that also brought caused us to create more calls. So now what happened was we couldn't get to all those. Okay, so now we gotta, we had to put something in place, right? Because now it makes no sense to scale up, because right here, back to number one, we had leaks, right? And it probably falls right here. And this is what we might have follow up. We didn't have, we couldn't depend on our old setup. We had to really revamp and reevaluate, how we're going to handle this increase amount of calls. All right. So does that mean, so we just had to answer a lot of questions. Do we bring someone in? How do we handle calls after dark? So those are the things you want to look at. I mean, one of the things we decided to do for a period of time was, all right, looks like the majority of our leads for PPC for people calling are coming from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So that's where we really ramp up and increase our budgets. And then we shut off the PPC from 9 to 6 a.m. to see if that helped. Right. So again, as you guys see, that's importance of paying attention to the metrics. That's real. That's important. That's why, again, guys, that's what I mean by look at the leak. So don't just look at just increasing lead flow without really looking at everything. Because anytime you do it, there's gonna be something that's broken that works for you now, but as you increase your scaling up, it's just not gonna work as well. So make sure you guys be careful with that. Just thought I'd bring that up because that was a big thing that I had to deal with, that we had to make adjustments with. So hopefully that made sense and that kind of helps helps determine what I mean, kind of giving a real life example of what I mean by plug the leak. So that's just, so I just didn't want you to think that was just in the leads, but also your follow up, have a good CRM, make sure that you're maximizing every opportunity on these leads. Cause again, you guys are spending a lot of money and time acquiring these leads. You want to make sure you set yourself up for success. All right. So let me see here again, couple examples. Let me do this. I've been rambling on for the last 15-20 minutes. So let's take a break and see if there's any questions that we can tackle at the moment before I continue. So, all right. So, all right. Pause my PPC, working on the SEO and a couple of PPC campaign for credibility and value. So, yeah. So, I mean, I think we have a call coming up, Grace. So definitely want to plug more into that as well. I don't know, man. Like, SEO is still a long-term game, guys. I mean, SEO, unless you're really right there, let's say page 2, page 1, it's tough to really depend on that, right? Because, I mean, that's not going to bring in leads for you right away. That's why I'm not a big fan when someone says SEO is the way to go, because it's a process. That's great. You can be working on SEO. It's great that you can be investing into SEO, whether you're paying someone or you're doing it yourself. But what about now, right? How are you going to, that's why, me personally, I think SEO is a great investment if you have other leads coming in at the moment, because that was one of the biggest mistake I made was, I just dove in SEO 100% for the first 6-7 months. I didn't get any leads. And there's times I got frustrated, like, man, if I knew better now and I was smart and I was as smart as I am now, when I first started when I started in real estate, was, man, I would have found a way to come up with some money and just start doing PPC while I was working on the SEO. Okay. So again, that's why, we'll definitely dive into that, Grace, as far as, what that is, but SEO is definitely going to be tough long-term, simply because it's not going to bring in leads right now. And don't let anybody fool you guys that tells you SEO is your solution. It's still a long ways off depending on where you are. All right. So, be careful with that. Use wisdom and common sense when someone's making promises like that, really, with any type of marketing, not just SEO. All right. So Facebook is going to also be, I really begin to dig Facebook a little bit, but again, also, at least right now, just kind of understand that you probably will still experience some very low conversion rate, because again, you got to look at, especially if you're going after cold traffic. Cold traffic is when you're not really targeting a certain group or a certain criteria. You're just kind of going after everyone in your market. Is that, just understand that 99% of who sees your ad are not going to be, they're not going to be interested, right? So you might reach a lot of people, which is impressions. You might have a high number of impressions, but very low click, a lot of low clicks, and then very, very few conversions, just because that's just kind of the thing that happens when you go after cold traffic. Okay. So if you guys have more questions on that, let me know. All right. Cool. So hey guys, kind of let me know. I mean, is this stuff helping? I mean, what we're talking about? Again, I don't want I don't want to just be rambling off if there's anything I need to clarify. So, kind of want to stick on this topic right here. Was these two things right here? Are these five things? Is there anything that you guys want to me go over as far as what we mean by this? Okay, because I think this is really what everything, like we said, it boils down to. All right. So let's if you guys have questions on that, let me go through the questions and see if there's anything we can address at the moment. All right. Yep. Hey Tim. So nail the math. Again, best thing to do for that to really kind of sink in, just simply go to startgoingoncarrot.com. Nail the math is just really understanding how much you guys are spending and what returns are you guys getting, right? So I'm really big on knowing the numbers, like, okay, how many clicks have I gotten? What's my conversion rate? I mean, you guys, I mean, I could easily have a 40% conversion rate, but if I'm not closing deals, something is wrong, right? So that's what I mean is I think is really understand how much you guys are spending and what's the return you guys are getting. And one of the best ways to start that, especially if you're doing PPC, guys. Now, some of you may not be doing PPC, but it's still good to kind of go through and understand the concept. All right. So, and really everything kind of begins with some really basic elementary is, okay, how much profit am I making per deal? All right. And just work backwards from there. How many, okay, so I make 10 grand profit per deal. Okay. So now the next question is, all right, how many leads does it take for me to, how many leads does it take for me to close a deal, right? Does it take 5 leads to close a deal? And when I say leads, guys, these are someone that that not only leads means this is someone that came through your website and fill out the form, right? So that's a lead. Okay. So how many leads does it take to close a deal, right? So now the next question then is, okay, how many clicks, how many people do I need to touch before it converts to a lead? So you're just basically working backwards, right? So I think everything, well, I know everything kind of starts from what's your profit per deal and just work backwards. What's the roadmap that gets you there? And then looking at the number financially that goes to every stage of that. Okay. So I went to a mastermind in Miami, and it was amazing how Ray had I mean, they have conversion rate for everything, conversion rate when they send out their guys, how many, what's their conversion rate for signed contract? What's their conversion rate for calls? I mean, they have a conversion rate for everything, right? They want to know every time they send out a person, how many times do they come back with a contract, and and out of the contracts that they got, how many of them close? I mean, so they just simply work backwards. It's really amazing how they have it nailed down. So now what happens is now they're able to make the decisions on where to spend their money on their marketing. They know where to pile it on and where to reallocate some of that marketing to something that's bringing in the return, right? So that's the thing, guys. And that's why I want to direct all of you guys to the ROI tool, because it really gets you into the ROI mindset versus the budget mindset. Nothing wrong with a budget, nothing wrong with kind of creating a kind of a, how do I say it? There's nothing wrong with creating guidelines of what you have to work with. But I think if you don't understand what it takes to, how much it takes that you need to spend to do a deal, I just think it's going to be difficult to do anything. So, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. I can't really give you specific answers, Tim, because everyone has a different business model, right? So I think we just got to break down based on on your operation, different metrics, so the KPIs is going to be very different for everybody, right? It just depends on what marketing you're doing. Someone who's just doing PPC might have a whole different KPI than someone who's doing, direct mail, door knocking, stuff like that. So, Tim, reach out to me and, I can send you, it's a really cool, chart that I have that really breaks it down. So, it's crazy how they have this operation, set up, that they have a conversion rate for everything. It was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. So, email me and I can send that to you. Take a look. Okay. So, or anyone else on this call, actually. So, how do you decide how quickly to grow? How much money to spend versus save? That's a tough one. I mean, how much money to spend? I mean, that's why, guys, I think it's so important. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made, was I just went into any market without really understanding the market, right? Because here's the thing: if you don't understand the market, especially what the state of the market is, we're gonna always equate the success and failure of you going into that market based on your experience. And what I mean by that is, I had someone reach out to me and say, "Hey, you know what? We've had this carrot site. We're ranking here, and we're just not doing any deals." So I began to break down his business. Come to find out, I knew this, but here's the thing: I'm not in that market, but I knew it just for talking to other people. Was I just knew that it's a hot sellers market, and he didn't quite understand how that has impact on marketing, right? Sometimes we think just because we do SEO or just because we do PPC is going to override what's going on in the market. It doesn't, right? I mean, you can't force people to go to the website and fill out the form and have them sell you their house, right? There has to be a process. So for me, I was explaining to these guys, like, man, you have to understand that when you're in a hot sellers market like this one that you're in, there are going to be, your, SEO may not be quite as effective, really, for really any marketing, right? Again, that's why I was saying, that's why right now cold calling is like the big thing right now, because you're not really dependent on someone coming to you, which is great, which is awesome. I love people coming to me, but if I'm in a market to where I can't rely on that, man, I got to make some adjustments. I got to pivot. So instead of me waiting for them, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go track them down. So that's kind of what I mean by, you got to understand of what's going on in your market. Are you in a hot sellers market? Are you in a buyer's market? Because that right there that really has impact on how effective your marketing. And then that should also force you to change your marketing message, right? So like what I mean by that too is, if you know you're in a hot sellers market, I don't think you can rely on just saying, "Hey, we buy houses, or we can close fast, or we can give you a cash offer," because in a hot sellers market, them going through an agent, they can get that. They can get a fast closing. They can get a cash offer. So it's no longer appealing. It doesn't make them, it doesn't tickle them anymore. So you're gonna have to shift you might have to shift your message. Like for me, what I've been doing in this one particular hot market I'm in, I'm not focused on that at all. I'm more focused on no fees. Okay. Because that's the one thing that an agent won't give up, is their commission. Right. So now I'm hammering that. Hey, so I'm selling more of the convenience of the transaction. Because I'm still trying to magnify the whole headache of going through a realtor. And I'm really magnifying the no fees, because I mean, really, if we buy the house, they're not paying fees, but if they go through an agent, they have to pay commission, all that. So those are the little things I'm magnifying. So again, by understanding your market, that should force you to change your message too, because a certain message will not always work in certain market conditions. Got to change it up. Okay, so there's a lot of different factors that play a role of how much you might spend, because you might spend a lot of money because you're chasing your tail, but yet it's because you're not paying attention and making the adjustments in the areas that you need to, which, like in this case, we're talking about changing your message. So, all right. So, yeah, Forrest. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. There's Tim and Forrest talking more about the math. So, man, this is where again, without really going into numbers, which probably will take about 30 minutes an hour, good guys. If you guys are not really strong in the numbers part, this is where I would start, man. Go back to ROI. Go to oncare.com/ROI and watch this video. I personally learned a lot, even though I was always been kind of good at it. Trevor kind of just took it to another level. He talks about the ROI of paid marketing. Okay. So, um, and even if you guys are not doing paid marketing, guys, it's always good to kind of know, get an idea of what your costs may be. Okay. So if that means you got to have to come up with more money to invest, at least you have an idea. Okay. Um, so me personally, back to what Tim was saying, was me personally, I would, if I were to go into a new market, I would look at paid. I would look at PPC. I would find out what the cost per click is, for the prime keywords. So if, and then it's just working backwards. So, do it that way. Right. And then that will kind of determine where I need to be, then find out what's my potential. Some basic numbers I probably would need is, this is the way I do is what's a realistic assignment fee that I can command in that market, so I'll ask questions, reach out to some groups. If I know someone in that market, get an idea, and then just try and tie in everything. Then to me, now I can decide, does it make sense for me to go into this market? Because, because there's some markets I've been in that is really good. It's a good buyer's market, but the volume is good, but the margins are terrible. Okay. So it just, so to some degree, I had to cap myself at a certain amount with PPC because, I was overspending. So again, it goes back to the math. Hold on, guys. All right. Sorry, guys, had to get a drink of water. So hopefully, again, guys, I can't really give you your answers, but these are some resources that's going to really help you do that. I mean, to me, this was a game changer, because for a lot of years, I would always ask, I was asking the wrong questions. Hey, what should my budget be? What should my budget be? So as I was answering or asking that question, it wasn't forcing me to really dig in until we came across this. Right? It's like, man, so this changed everything. So now I know where I need to be, and just my whole perspective has changed big time, because I'm not more about budgeting. It's about trying to figure out how much do I need to spend per deal. Okay. So again, so check this out, oncarrot.com/ROI, and then just dive into that. And this video right here, this is going to be game changer. I promise you guys. Here. Just go to oncarrot.com/ROI, and then the link to that video is already in here. So go there and watch that 5, 10, 20, 50 times if you have to. All right. All right. All right. So it looks like a lot of that has to do with the math. So start there. All right, cool. Steve, haven't done a deal yet. Can't reach out to your people. Reach out to people in your market, Steve. Find out what the average assignment deal in your market is, right? And then figure out. I mean, what type of marketing you're doing. That's the thing, guys. Just because you're not able to do deals, I mean, here's the thing, too, guys. And this might really make me sound like a jerk. Please, I'm not trying to come across as one, but man, this is a business, guys. You got to figure out what your numbers. I mean, if you're to go if you're to go open a restaurant or some other business, trust me, we would probably have a business plan. Okay, this is how we're going to market. This is how we're going to reach people. This is how we're going to get people through the door. I mean, because there's a lot on the line because we're investing so much into the business, right? And sometimes we don't really do that as investors because a lot of times we're not putting much money into it. We're just kind of putting hustle and being resourceful, all of that, which again is great. That's where I started. So I'm not taking away from that. But man, force yourself, you guys, to figure it out. I mean, we can kind of give you some insight. Even people in the industry can give you insight, but these are things that I would go on some bigger pocket, start some conversation, link up to some people in your market and see what they're doing, what's working for them. Trust me, someone who's successful is not scared to provide information. They don't have that mentality that, hey, I'm not going to give up what I'm doing. Trust me, the most successful people who you should be talking to are not afraid to give you their information. So what I would do, Steve, is find out what's the average wholesale fee in your market. Ask them question. Hey, what type of marketing you guys doing? See what's getting the most, right? And then how much is that costing them, right? So if someone says, hey, you know what, man, we're doing awesome with bandit signs. Start looking into that, right? So now again, at the same time, don't take anyone's word for it surface level. Like, again, a lot of people out there that claim to be doing this and that, and it's just not true. Okay, so just kind of be careful with that. So you can re-engineer. Doesn't mean it has to be done on your deal. Talk to someone who's done a deal and re-engineer through their information. Okay, so there's always a way to get that information. Yeah, Renee. I'm not sure if Dallas is a hot sellers market. And dude, let's make sure we make that thing happen. I got to follow up with Brian to see if he can hook us up with Dallas tickets. So if you guys are in the Dallas market, a few of us are trying to hook up and attend a Dallas game this coming year. So if you're in the Dallas market, yep, throw your let us know. All right, cool. All right. All right, let's see here. Let me All right, we're already at the hour mark, so let's I love it, Forrest. Love it. So Forrest did this awesome video. That was one of the cool things that we did for our Carrot members that went to Carrot Camp is they did videos, all type of cool stuff. So Forrest, man, love it. You're definitely listening. I think we had talked about getting rid of some videos inside here because we found that it wasn't working well. So awesome that you made these changes. Love the fact that you kind of put a call to action, kind of put some expectations. Hey, there's a video down below. Love it. There's a carrot brick in the background. That's awesome. Love it. So all right, about us. Yeah, what I would do if anything here is I would get rid of get rid of the call to action or the hero section for the company page, because when someone comes to the company page, they kind of have an expectation, right? They don't want to be continued to be sold to, right? And when I say sold to is like, they've already seen this form, right? When they first land on the site, and now they want to learn more about you. So they're going to go to the company page, and then so the last thing you want to do is continue to push something that they've already seen, and really give them what they're looking for, which in this case is they just want to learn more about, who is CVA, right? Who's this guy Forrest? All right. So, and you never know what's going to happen is that, let's say this person just is online and they're just, again, this is very far fetched, but I like to nitpick. You never know. What if this person never scrolled down, right? So they'll never find the information that they were looking for. they think it's not there because they've seen this form again. They think, okay, did I go to a different place? Am I in the same place? Did I click the wrong button? Again, it's more psychology. So I would get rid of this, and then just when someone lands, let them just go straight into this. Okay. A lot of videos. So I'm not sure what these videos are. I don't have time to really go through each video, but make sure you put these videos where they make sense. So if it's more about telling some of the process, maybe just put those videos in a testimonial, because the not testimonials, but the FAQ. So those videos are more explaining FAQ. I would blend them in here, right? Then just so I would really be careful in just not overusing the hero section, right? So it looks like the only ones. So I would get rid of the hero on the FAQ, get rid of it on the company page, right? Just make it more simple, because I don't want people thinking, hey, did I click to the right place? I thought I was going to the company page. So a lot of stuff, you'd be amazed what people are looking for, right? And just their thought process. So you don't want to lose them. It's about providing a really good user experience and a really easy way for them to digest and get to the information they're looking for. So that's the only thing I would recommend, is get rid of the hero sections. And if you need help, just reach out to support and they can help you with that. Okay. So if you don't want to mess with it, just do that. All right. So great job on the videos. It looks like you're doing a lot of videos. Let's check out your YouTube channel. So let me just pause this. Okay. So one thing here. So here's just some feedback for us is I would put videos on the website, and this is for everybody, not just for us, but put videos that are just 100% relevant to why someone will be on this page. So it looks like this video is talking about what you did on the renovation side and all that stuff, which is awesome. But most people are coming here because they need a solution, right? They can really care less for the most part. I'm not saying it's always the case, but for the most part, they can care less what you do with the property, right? They just want to be done with it on the front end. So when you start going into renovating, explaining what you do, you can potentially lose people or they begin to have doubt of the service you provide. Like, I can totally see someone here saying renovation. Like, I thought these guys buy houses. What do you mean renovation? I don't want to renovate my house. I want to sell it, right? So they might perceive that you're trying to sell them on fixing up your house. And really, in their back of their mind, now they begin to have doubts, say, man, I just want to sell it. I don't want to renovate, right? So you're kind of leading them down a rabbit's hole. So you got to be very careful with that. So, Forrest, did that make sense? So just make sure that you're putting videos that are only relevant to the site. So, and also what I would probably do is, I don't know. I would really love for you to brand your page, because I mean, you're really talking about Forrest. You're putting your logo here. Forrest buys houses. So instead of just being the generic, we buy houses in Richmond, brand it, man. I would brand Forrest. Hey, Forrest buys houses, because now you got a picture that relates to that, and it's just not about keywords. A lot of it's about branding. That's where the credibility comes from. Okay, so and then maybe if you can get someone on Fiverr, I think you're big on Fiverr, if I remember, like, just utilize this space, right? Utilize the space. I think I personally have a software that helps me do this, but the software helps me create these images too. So let me go back to Facebook real quick here, or not YouTube. Like me, the only reason why I'm saying I have a keyword in here is because I don't have a brand like you do. But this is what I wanted to show you was, utilize the space. This is valuable space right here. And, create a call to action, right? I have a call to action. I have an arrow pointing to the link button. It's really simple. Really, really, really simple. So utilize the space. If you got to find someone that can help you create that, do it, So just some feedback there. Sweet. Yeah, cool. So force, does that make sense though? But not, I would just wouldn't recommend talking about renovation stuff on this site because you don't want to confuse people. You don't want to start losing people's you don't want to lose people's you don't want people to start questioning like what does this guy actually do? I thought he buys, but now he's talking about renovating. Again, people come up with weird stuff in their minds and you can't afford to lose them because one little ounce of doubt or they begin to question things, you're going to lose them. Right. So I just like to just have them on this very narrow path that this is what we do and this is how we help you. And that's it 100%. Yeah. Canva's awesome. That's one option for you. The only thing with Canva is that they don't really, unless it's updated recently. I mean, it's really hard. Last time I tried using Canva, they didn't really guide you where to put um, the text. The reason why I was able to put this precisely in the right places like this precisely because I have the software that guides me on where to put the information if someone were to look on a desktop because YouTube has you create this crazy measurement. I think it's like 2,500 by something. It's crazy. So you got to create this image that's huge that is going to accommodate TV, mobile, and desktop. And the one that I pretty much did it was for desktop. So I don't know if Canva has some type of guide or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if they're providing some type of it's on the tip of my tongue, some type of measurements that tell you, okay, put your text here because this is where if someone on desktop, they'll show up here. Right. So I don't know what word I'm looking for, but Canva's an option. Check it out. Yeah, Tim. So, I mean, part of the conversion might just be again going back to what I think me and you talk about this is what's going on in that market. You know, is it a seller's market? Because if it's a seller's market, usually conversion will be an issue. I mean, that's a thing too. And again, I'm just saying this just for the sake of saying it is just because two guys, if you're doing SEO or PPC, that doesn't always equate to success, right? Even though we talk about it, it's a great, don't get me wrong. So how do I say it without sound like I'm contradicting myself? So just because someone's doing PPC, just because someone's doing SEO doesn't always mean you're going to be crushing it. I've learned that the hard way. Like there's some areas and markets I'm in that I'm ranked #1. My SEO is on par. It's awesome, but I only produce a few leads, but then there's people in that market that are doing cold calling and just like killing it. So again, so the first thing I would do, Tim, is what is the state of the market? Because I know you do a pretty good job of using the right keywords, right? So unless you're using you're using broad keywords or broad settings where that's hurting your conversion rate. So you're playing more the numbers game. If you know you're using really good keywords, then really part of the problem is going to be, or where I would start is look at the market. Like, what is the market? Okay. How much activity are you getting, like impression wise? And then, because I mean, in your market, 2% might be a great conversion rate. Okay. 1% might be a great conversion rate. Right. So sometimes we hear a lot of people, they might be in a whole different market and they're saying, hey, I'm getting 20%. I'm getting 10%. And we think, oh, shoot, my numbers show only 1. And then we think something's wrong, but yet every market's going to be different. So that's the other thing too. You kind of have to be careful with is what is an ideal decent conversion rate, right? So I know in some markets, 3% is awesome, as crazy as that sounds, but that's because that market is also a hot seller's market. So that will have impact because you're going to always see activity, but you're going to see more people shopping. You're going to see people coming to your website, but they're just not willing to engage right now. That's why retargeting is really important. So, a number that I've seen recently is even Is that, you know, just because someone comes to a website doesn't always mean, and if they don't engage or they don't convert, doesn't always mean something's wrong. It could just be they're just not ready for it. Like they're just not ready. So that's why retargeting is so important. Yeah, I think, Tim, the safest and most effective way is just as I know it's tough. It may not be the ideal way to do, but I think it's just talking to other people, like reaching out. I know there's a lot of groups on Facebook say, hey, you know, what are, and that's tough because some people are not willing to give away PBC numbers, right? So, I think it's just really diving in and looking at the numbers of what the results you're getting, and then just working backwards. So I would love to help Tim on that because I know, um, you know. So let's connect, dude. Let's connect sometime soon. Let's take a look at your PPC again, and then we can just kind of work from there. So it might be a good case study too as well. But man, that's the thing, guys. There's so many dynamic that plays a role on what's deemed successful, a failure, because it's just not a straight approach, right? That's one thing I've learned being in multiple markets is every market's going to perform different. So and it's going to always be apples and oranges, you know. I learned that the hard way. Like Pittsburgh, dude, I crush it in Pittsburgh. Like my conversion rate was like 30-40%. My cost per lead was like $600. Or cost per deal, excuse me, not per lead. Cost per deal was like $600, but my margins were super low, right? To where then I go into another market, which is a really hot sellers market. My cost per lead or cost per deal, excuse me, for PBC was $2,800, right? Which is crazy, and I'm not used to that. But the spread, the margins are so much higher, right? So every market is going to be different, you know. So sometimes you got to build history. Sometimes you got to build a lot of history to kind of figure that stuff out, which is tough because you could take a loss. Which is tough because like with PBC, Tim, let me see. Let me go into my Evernote. Shoot. Where did I put every time I'm one of those guys I start crap. I start something and I write really cool notes, but then I don't label them right. Shoot. Let me see if I can find it real quick, Tim. I'm going to show you what my formula is. I just got to find it. I love shoot. Okay. All right. So here's kind of my formula, Tim. I'm on another computer, so I can't share it on the screen I'm in right now. So month one. So these are my notes. Month one, you can't optimize without data, right? So in the month one, I always expect a loss, right? Month one, I'm basically just seeing what the activity is. Okay. So usually what happens is the impression and the clicks will be high, but the traffic quality is pretty low and the conversion rate is low. So again, but at the same time, my goal in month one is more or less brand awareness and visibility. It's not really for leads. Now, if you might get a lead in the first month and that may be awesome, that's a plus. But realistically, I know I'm going to take a loss in the first month because you can't optimize anything if you don't have data for it. So month one is always gathering data. Okay. So then month two, I begin to see, now I know based on month one data, now I know, you know, what's the mobile and desktop usage, what's primarily dominant. Because now I can start optimizing and start bidding more on, let's say that my mobile is 70% usage. Now I know I need to increase more on mobile users, right? So again, month two is pretty much just reviewing what that is. So again, I guess that's the biggest thing I want to have you take away is that you can't optimize anything without no data. right? So that's why, guys. Um, and here's a good example. Let me just use Forrest's website as an example. One of the things that we went over uh, at Carrot Camp, and jumping all over the place. Sorry, guys. So, like I said, you can't optimize anything unless you have data. So, like in the Carrot sites, guys, I love looking at stats. Okay, so I'll look at the last 30 days. I'll see where all my leads are coming from and where they're going. So it looks like with Forest, a good chunk, obviously, homepage is always gonna be pretty high. But then what happens is, 19 people went to the how we buy houses page, right? So I mean, our company was a close third, and then a lot of these were coming through here too. So, um, so now if I were a Forest, now I begin to look at this page because this is the second most visited pages. So I want to ask why, right? Is it just because it's easy to click, or and now what happens for us? So if you begin to see that a lot of people are going to this page, how we buy houses, that tells me, okay, my market may not quite understand what we do, because I mean, this is an indicator, right? So to me, so now if our company page was dominant as far as where people are going after the homepage, that tells me people are suspicious. Like they want to know, like, who's this company? They want to know who they're dealing with, right? So credibility is an important factor. Okay. Now this tells me in your market, again, these numbers are not too far off, so I don't want to say this is absolute, but the fact that you have a lot of people wondering how you guys buy houses, people are curious more than suspicious. So what I would do now, Force what content to create. Like maybe you look at this page and maybe create a video of this process, right? Explain more about how the process works, right? So now you have data that you can run off of that shows you that really is meeting the demand. I think that's what I have right here. Right here, the core conversation, right? What's the conversation, right? So because what happens is right here, I kind of put this plug the leaks in your bucket credibility, the numbers. If you're driving 30 plus leads a month, how many aren't closing because your online credibility score wasn't as strong as the competitors, right? So what you can also say is, how many aren't closing because you're not answering the questions that your market has. And that's where data like this can play a big role. So pay attention to the stats, where people are going. And then also, obviously your lead source as well. Okay. So that's kind of how I would do it, Tim, is just look at your numbers, look at how people are engaging. PPC is awesome of the information that it gives you. What are people typing in? Like with PPC, you can see what people typed in when they click on your ad. And if you're beginning to see a pattern towards more broad terms, that can show you that, hey, maybe PPC is not going to be the best thing to scale up, right? Because again, it's about ROI, right? So, because you don't want to spend more output than you're bringing in from that. Okay, so hopefully that made some sense. Yep, exactly. So great point for us. So Forrest said it will help frame the meetup too. So again, guys, there's always indicators in place based on when you look at data. You should be able to kind of see a pattern. You should begin to see what's important to people in your market, and that's where you should be creating the content around. Those are the things you should have in place, because now you're bringing to the surface what people are thinking, and you're answering them, and that's where credibility comes from. That's where trust comes from. How many times have you guys talked to someone, a stranger, and they said something that you agreed with because you're already thinking it. There's just some crazy dynamic that people just trust you more when you agree, right? So, cool. Yeah, Tim said that's good stuff. What month do you expect to start bringing in revenue in, or decide to plug? Me personally, I mean, let me look at my notes. I'll have to share this Evernote with you, dude. Because I kind of have I have a it's in an informal format, Tim. So because I've been thinking the same thing, like because I think sometimes with PBC we jump in just expecting results because we talk about it, which is true. Like if I get a return in month one, I'm like happy. But when you really look at things logically, because I know you're pretty analytical and you're really smart that way, but really it goes back to like how can I optimize or determine or come to a decision without information, right? So when you really look at it from that point of view, it makes sense that in month one, you're pretty much going to expect a loss because you're probably going to spend 500, $1,000 with the activity that's going to happen. And because you don't know where to adjust, you don't know what to eliminate, you know. So like me personally, I begin to go into new markets and kind of open up my keywords because I know a lot of times I talk about using using exact match or phrase match only. But in some markets, I'll open it up just a little bit and I'll see and I'll kind of gather data. Then I can start making adjustments. I begin to dial in. But the first month or 2 months, I begin to really again, a lot of times PPC is a lot like SEO, right? It's a process. Because I think we sometimes we see this picture thinking that you know SEO, PPC is a great way to generate leads now, which is 100% true. But part of it too is it's still a process. It's still a dialing process. Let's see. So for me, Tim, I think month one, two, and three is always kind of the crucial moment. And then month four is where I'll decide to increase the budget or don't, or I'll kind of dial back. Right. So again, it goes back to understanding your profit margin. Now, as far as where you pull the plug, I mean, that depends on your profit margin. So a good example in the hot market I was telling you I'm in, my it takes me 24, 27. It takes me 27 leads. I mean, this is crazy high, but it's a hot sellers market. It takes me 20 it on average, it takes anywhere from 20 to 27 leads to do a deal. So how much is it costing me to get to that point? It's about 100. It's about around that same amount. It's like 3,000, 2,500 to 3,000. So, but here's the thing. So, there's some months it took me 2 months to get to that tier. So sometimes we can't accomplish what we need to accomplish in 1 month alone. So sometimes it takes me 2 months to get to that 20 to 24 mark to do a deal. So if I just determine things just based on monthly, I would have quit, but that was just because I wasn't getting to the level I need to be to do those deals. So that's the tough part. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 months to get to that tier you need to get to meet the numbers and the criteria to do a deal. Right. So sometimes it's hard to gauge by month. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Cool. All right. Sweet. All right, cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Renee, thanks, man, for the heads up. I'm gonna take a look at see if they have a template for that for Canva because I like Canva. I use that for everything except for the only thing I didn't use with YouTube, but then I also have a software that I use. Yep, cool. Awesome. All right, cool. Awesome, Tim. I'm glad that you got some value odd information. Again, some stuff, guys, me, Trevor, no one's going to really give you 100% accurate information. I mean, so unfortunately, it's not one of those things we can say, hey, what's your question? Then we can just answer, then your problem solved. I mean, if it was that easy, like this business would be so easy. So a lot of times it's just kind of And unfortunately, sometimes you got to just spend money to know to ramp it up or to just retreat, right? It's just kind of goes with the territory. So, cool. All right. I think I'm going to cut it there, guys. A lot of the questions died down. And so hopefully you guys got some value out of this. If you have more questions, obviously send them through chat. And if you are watching the recording, even though this is not live, again, also feel free to send through questions. They'll find its way to me, and I'll make sure to get back with you. So again, guys, hopefully I wasn't all over the place a little bit. Not feeling the best today, but seems like it was a good call. Getting a lot of great comments through chat on how useful the information is. So now it's you guys taking that information and applying it. So anything I can do to help, please reach out. And anything I can do, I'm here for you. Appreciate you. Everyone on the call that participated, Tim, Forrest, Grace, Renee, Steve, just to kind of name a few. Thank you guys for participating, send through questions, also resources like Renee did. Canva, he said, is a great, looks like they provide a template to help guide, where to input the information for whether it's desktop or mobile, all that stuff. So anyways, thank you for that. All right, guys, have an awesome day. And hopefully we will see you on next week's call again. Bye.